Warning, this episode contains brief mention of suicide. If you are experiencing suicidal thoughts, please contact the National Hotline for Mental Health Crises and Suicide at 800-273-8255. Welcome to Two Queens and a Joker, my narcissist ex and me. I am Brenda.
I'm Sara.
We decided today that we would like to talk about narcissistic collapse. I don't know if this is a really well-known term or concept, but we're going to explain it. And we have definitely both experienced it with our mutual ex and his many moments of collapse.
Most definitely.
Yeah, especially for big things. And before we do that, though, I want to tell you, I got the notice, like from the thing we use to push the podcast out. We are in 46 countries. 46 countries. Is that not the coolest?
It's so cool.
I know. I love that. And even if it's like one person and each, that is so cool.
It's one person that we're able to share with.
Yeah. But I saw that and I can tell, I can see the statistics. Most of our listeners are here in the US, and that's where we are. Most of our listeners, too, as far as cities go, are San Diego, which is where we are. And I think probably some of that is my clients. I don't know, or, just people that know us.
Thank you.
Yeah, indeed.
Clients,
Thank you.
family. We love you.
Yes, we appreciate it. No matter who it is. And honestly, I mean, anyone we can help. I'm so grateful that we have this platform to do it and that people are actually listening. But the thing I thought was really interesting, so San Diego's the top city, which makes sense because that's where we are. But the second top city was someplace in Germany. I thought that was so cool.
That's just weird to me that
I know. It is to me too, and I absolutely love it.
I can kind of say I've actually been out of the United States now. We're totally going off subject again. My buddy at work was like asking me and my other coworker, like, if somebody gave you guys $1 million, would you shave your head? And I'm like,
Yes.
for $1 million, you know what I would?
Sorry.
Because do you see the wigs that are out there nowadays?
Exactly.
I'm like, they're amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm
How
like,
many wigs could I buy? Yeah. And hair grows back. Hell yeah.
he also asked Cass if she would give up her jewelry, and that was a hell no.
Fair enough. That might have some sentimental value. Yeah.
She sparkles. She's a sparkler.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got beautiful, beautiful jewelry.
I admire women that do that. I think this goes back to that whole, like, I'm just going to be the wallflower over here thing. But when I see somebody that can layer their jewelry and have nice makeup on, how do you do that?
She's so awesome at it. I'm just like
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do it because that's just not who I am, but
Same.
every day she comes in and her jewelry is all together. She's bracelets, her necklace, her earrings. It's like all put together and it all matches and it's all, what she decided to wear and put together. And I'm like, I don't have that. I don't have that in me. But oh my God, you are amazing.
Gorgeous. Yeah. It's got to be like an artistic quality, like a creative piece of her brain. Like, I love it.
But she was another one that went through a really hard time with the narcissist as well.
Really?
But yeah. And to me, I was like, holy moly, when she was telling me her story, because she's who I aspire to be. She is such a strong, outspoken woman. To hear her go through what she went through, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So to learn that it could happen to this strong woman, they just want to go after us.
They do. They do. And somebody like that too, I can see being an extra threat to a narcissist, right? They're going to be attracted to a smart, beautiful woman. But they're also going to, on the same side or the flip side of that coin, resent her for being smart and beautiful and getting attention or being something that the narcissist isn't. So they are particularly cruel. But uh, it's remarkable. I have seen women, I only work with women at this point. I only have women clients, but over the years, it's mostly been women anyway, but from all walks of life. Does not matter. It does not matter where you came from. I think any one of us could fall victim to this kind of abuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that just proved it even more for me.
Mm-hmm. It's a good example. It's a good example for you to be seeing that this is not about you. It's about them,
Mm-hmm.
the narcissist. Yeah. I really hate them. I haven't I went 2 weeks without seeing clients, so I wasn't really talking about narcissistic people in action for that 2 weeks, but I was doing I'm preparing for this class that I'm gonna do. I need to talk to you about the divorce thing too. I think maybe we could do a support group, like my weekly Sona support. Would you be interested in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that might be better because women are going to be in all different kinds of phases, and we can use the worksheets that I've created for that. But maybe we just have it be an ongoing thing. Okay, because I think I mean, I know there are people out there that want that kind of support, and January seems to be divorce month from what I'm learning.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, there might be a demand for this right now.
I think they're just sick of the fucking holidays and having to spend it with them.
I think that's it. I think that's probably a big part of it. And I think a lot of people with children wait until the holidays are over. They just get through the holidays and then I can do this because I can't let my kids have this be their Christmas or
You
whatever.
just can't be their memory.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it makes sense to me on a few levels why January would be it. But I think that makes more sense to do a kind of just a running group for support for divorce. Yeah. So I'm gonna launch that pretty quickly if you're okay, we'll figure that out. Did we do the introduction?
Yeah.
We did, right? Okay.
Did we go on
And then I
floppy?
want
Yes.
yes, of course. I should leave all this stuff in here. Oh, not all of it.
I
I really should. Just see how just unpolished we are.
mean, I think that's why we work so well.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. That's fine. I might leave it in there. Okay, narcissistic collapse. Okay. So let's talk about narcissistic collapse. I am going to try to define it to the best of my ability, how I understand it. There may be other explanations out there. And this is how I understand it through a therapist lens, because I think I understood it through a therapist lens before I realized that was going on when I was with the Joker. I went back and oh, that's what he was doing. So if you think about a narcissist and how they are abuse and neglect in childhood, typically, not always, but typically, they're wearing this mask to try to prove them to them, this narcissistic part of them, to try to prove to themselves that they're okay, worthwhile, wanted, needed, a worthwhile human being. Because internally, I think they feel a lot of shame and a lot of, just low self esteem and all of that. What were you thinking?
That's such bullshit.
It is such a bullshit. It is. It's
So
a total mask. It really is. We probably mask. I know that I do. And I know we've talked about this before. This is one of my goals for the rest of my life, not just 2026. But for me, it's not masking at all anymore. Like not showing up. If I feel like I'm not laughing at things I don't think are funny, I'm not doing any of that stuff
no.
anymore.
I know I've kinda done that, like, at work too. I'm like, "You know what? If you don't like me, I'm not gonna try anymore.
Yes.
I don't need to. I'm okay with that.
Yep. I'm not for everybody.
I get my job done. I do my job well. I love our patients. I love our doctors. I love our staff. And if you, for some reason, just don't like me, sorry, but I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I used to worry too, like when I would get a new client and if they didn't stay with me, intellectually, I know I'm not for everybody. I'm not going to feel like the right fit for everybody as a therapist. But
Mhm.
I used to go like, what did I do wrong? What did I say? Why didn't they like me? What is it about me? I'm really to the point now where I'm like, I just really do believe I'm not for everyone and that's okay. Not every client's for me either. But it's more my job to make sure that I can work with people, but they need to be able to trust and
Yes.
feel connected and all of that, and I might remind them of their mother, who knows? They might just not like me. I am okay with that now. I didn't used to be, but I'm 100% okay with that now.
That's my resolution for this year.
Yeah, that's it's such a relief, and I honestly think I didn't realize this for myself, and I talked about this on one of our other episodes, but I was coming home from the hair salon, and I was so grouchy after having, giving me
Should be grouchy after that.
I was asking myself that. My drive's not that long. It was like 10-minute drive from my house, and I was so grouchy, and I'm like, "What is going on with me? Why am I like this?" And I'm like this every time I leave this place, and I realized that it was because I'm like, "Yeah, yeah," and I don't wanna talk. I talk all the time. I'm a therapist, like, this is my whole thing. I wanna go to the hair salon and have silence. I don't wanna
Mhm.
hear other people talking either, but you can't control that. But I just wanna have the experience. I don't wanna have to, you know have the small talk. It's just exhausting.
Really
And
is.
that was such an aha moment for me, just realizing then, of course, how much I'm doing it so many other areas of my life too. I'm just not willing to anymore. Yeah.
It literally is physically, mentally exhausting.
It is. It is. And how are you ever going to get in touch with who you are and what you need and your self esteem and all of that stuff? Because really, the mask is people pleasing, if you think about it, right? We wear a people pleasing mask. A narcissist wears a I'm the most important person in the world mask. It's a very different mask that we're wearing, but neither one of us should be wearing it.
We should be able to say, "You know what? I just I'm tired. I don't wanna communicate. I love you at what you do with my hair or with my nails or my makeup or whatever. I just don't wanna talk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't have it in me, you know? Is that And I bet you dollars to donuts. They'd be like, "Yes. Oh
Thank God,
my
'cause I
god,
didn't want to talk either.
yes."
Yeah.
So,
You're probably right.
yeah,
Yeah. I think some places even or maybe that's for massages, I'm not sure, but offer like no talk massages or something like that.
sign me up.
Yeah, right? Yeah. The silence is golden. Well, okay, so we've determined what a mask is, okay? For both sides of that. Talking about how exhausting it is for us, just putting on that kind of people pleasy show by wearing the mask. A narcissist is basically doing the same thing but for nefarious reasons, right? Their motivation is to control and manipulate and all of that. Ours is I think just to have acceptance on some level because many reasons that we've talked about already. But for them, it's equally exhausting. You know, I don't think anybody can put on a version of themselves that isn't genuine without it taking some kind of toll. And if you think about a narcissist too, there's some recognition deep down of shame, or at least some feeling of shame, right? They don't do enough introspection to really understand their whole gig, their whole thing, right? They don't understand it. The feeling of shame rises in all of us from time to time. If you think about shame being the core emotion for a narcissist, it's often the core emotion for us until we start healing. How exhausting that would be to wear a mask that pulls you away from feeling the shame that you feel all the time. So for them, that happens.
It's an act 24 hours a day.
Yes, it is. So,
Exhausting.
of course.
Yeah.
Because the true self of a narcissist is self-loathing. It really is. That's what's underneath it. Whether no matter how they got to be a narcissist, even if it was the overindulgence in childhood kind, and I know people have other opinions about this. My opinion is it's one or the other. Overindulgence in childhood or abuse and neglect, and it's often abuse and neglect. But no matter what it is, there's shame and yeah, and it is 24 hours. So when they go into that collapse, it's the exhaustion from wearing the mask. And sometimes it'll last, and then we were talking about this with our ex, sometimes it would last a little while, a day or two. When his ex baby mama died, it lasted for over a month, right? Did not have the capacity to handle the emotions he was feeling because narcissists are emotionally immature, to handle the emotion he was feeling about his, I think, his first love taking her own life. I'm gonna have to put a warning on this episode. I mean, you can see like a big feeling kind of event like that happening took him out for weeks,
Oh, yeah. He
right?
didn't come out of the room. He was in bed, showered very infrequently. Now, no communication. Normally, he's like grandiose. "So let's go here, let's go there, let's talk. Let's go talk to people so people know how good I am." No, he didn't want anybody, which was
Yeah. That's what collapse is. That's what collapse looks like. That's an extreme version of it, the length of time and the reason for it. But that's a really good example of it because it's the overwhelm of emotion that they cannot handle. So something happens, their narcissistic ways don't charm the people that they want to charm, that can cause collapse. Doesn't It's certainly not always because of a death in a family. It's not to that level.
it can be nothing. Nothing can happen, and then, like, 2 or 3 days, there's same thing.
Yeah.
You can't communicate because nothing's wrong.
Mhm.
Leave me alone, which is
Yeah.
very strange.
Yeah.
They don't like being left alone,
Mm.
so it's eerily scary.
It is because it's so out of the norm, right? It's so not what you see. I think people who the non-narcissistic people can see this and see it as vulnerable. And I guess on
Because,
some
oh my
level of
gosh, they're showing some kind of emotion. They're sad, they're grieving.
mhm,
Be fooled.
don't be fooled. Honestly, with Kathy dying, I think she was always probably a backup in his brain, that he could always have her, right?
Well, like, I've told you before, like, after the funeral, probably not the same day as the funeral, but while he was doing the not going anywhere, in bed, kinda thing, like,
Mhm.
he had made the comment of, "Well, Sarah, that if she was alive, I would be with her behind your back."
What a shitty thing to say.
I'm like, "Okay, this person just died, and that's what you're gonna say to me?"
Yeah.
And, of course, my brain didn't click and go, "Get the fuck out," like it should've, but, like, I vividly remember that and just like, that's very odd. That's very strange
Yeah.
that's what you would say.
Yeah. Well, and I can imagine at that time knowing that he was grieving and that this was his son's mother, that I know for me, I would have made excuses for it.
Definitely.
Right. Like, well, he didn't mean it. This is a very hard, difficult thing to deal with. So this is another one of those things that I think we beat ourselves up about. Like, why didn't I kick him out? Well, because you had a heart and you were compassionate about what he was going through. Yeah. But I think now looking back on that, I do think it was a matter wasn't that he was sad that she was gone. It was sad that she wasn't a source of supply anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause I truly believe if she wasn't gone, if she was still here with us, we'd have a triangle.
Yes, we would. I could not agree more. Yeah. I think you're
Might be
absolutely right.
joining us with the podcast right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
Mhm. Oh, I thought that's what you meant. You mean a triangle between you, him, and her?
no, you, her, and me,
Yeah. Mm.
like,
Oh, yeah.
but with him as well, if she was still alive, not now, but I mean, back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day, that there would be that triangle that he'd be able to go through. Sarah, Brenda, Kath.
Well,
Sarah,
that,
Brenda,
yes.
Kathy. Sarah's mad. Let's go to Kathy. Oh, Kathy's mad. Let's go to Brenda, or vice versa, whichever way, because that's the way he works.
Honestly, he was probably doing that while she was still alive, now that you mention it.
Probably.
Yeah. What a dick. I fucking hate that guy.
I agree.
What?
I said I 100% agree.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she was all we've talked about that. She was always the 3rd person in my relationship with him. I know I was the 3rd person in your relationship, but it's always he always has to have somebody there to make his current partner feel insecure.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
I was told all this all the time, "Well, Brenda wouldn't have done it that way," or if we got in a fight, I always have Brenda. I'm like, "Okay."
yeah, he did the same thing with me, with Kathy. Same exact thing. Yeah. But so back to the collapse piece. Were there other times where you saw like shorter versions of that collapse? If you do you remember any?
Well, like, he has done it a few times, like, where nothing has happened,
Mhm.
there's no death, and then just 2 or 3 days, it would be in the room, not showering, not getting up, not doing anything, like, even, say good morning to the children, couldn't converse with it. We mattered 0, 0,
Wow.
which is weird because he would always want that recognition,
Mhm.
He would be upset if the kids didn't say good morning on a normal day. Like,
Mm.
upset, mad, angry, taking it out. So, like, if they didn't say it when he was going through these little bouts, I'm like, "That's okay, we're dealing with something different here.
Mhm.
So, children, we're all gonna tippy-toe."
As usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a different kinda it's like those episodes were, like, I would like to say more intense, more scary because that was not a normal for him.
Yes.
So you're like, "Okay, well, how's he gonna react if something really goes wrong while he's having this episode?"
Yeah. Did it ever happen?
I mean, not any worse than any other. I mean, I know we've argued
Mhm.
and, he'd spew his negativity, name calling, just his hate.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being any worse. There's just so many to
Yeah, there's a
I'm like
lot to weed through.
yeah, like, trying to think back on all like, the whole time, I can't say there's one time that, okay, yeah, this when he was having this kinda episode that he went way out of his way to harm me, hurt me, because that was just norm anyway.
Yeah. 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 I can think of one when we were together, and I think I was kind of egging him on a little bit in a way that it wouldn't have turned into a big blow up if it had been with a normal person. But I remember one time he he was trying to go back to school, and he was taking some class in college, and it had something to do with, like, because I'm white and he's Mexican, so it was something to do with just how horrible white people were. I couldn't remember, like, how white people Europeans invaded and blah, 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 and all of this, and then he later, like, that was one thing, so this wasn't all the same day. So I remember him being like, "White people are shitty," like, that kind of thing. And then there was another time where he came home and he had taken a class about, oh, no, he was talking about his Spanish heritage, about how I don't know if he did it was too early for genetic stuff. I can't remember, but where people with his last name were in Mexico, but they were there because they came from Spain. And I said, well, isn't that European invasion too? Right? Like, didn't your people come from Europe and invade another country? And that was it. That is what set him off, and I think he was in one of those funks, that kind of collapsed during that time, and was, I think, trying to pump himself up by saying he had, because it was Spanish royalty or something like that. And there's a place in Camarillo that shares the same last name, and he was making all those connections too. But when I called him out on that, that was the match to the powder keg. He had a plate in his hand, and he threw the plate at the ceiling, and it shattered everywhere, and it just was a big blowout over
For
that,
a conversation.
which should have been just a regular conversation. But I had called him out because he was, being a hypocrite. Yeah. But no, no, no. Can't do that. But that is one that stands out in my mind because I remember thinking he's pretty depressed right now, and he was talking about that, learning that in class, and probably not the best time for me to have brought that up. But also, I'm not responsible for his feelings.
No, you are not responsible for his actions or his words.
Yeah. But I saw the collapse often. I saw the collapse, and if you think about it too, maybe all the binges. So for when I was with him, there were little drug binges here and there. And I think those were probably related to collapse, where he's just trying to find something outside of himself to make himself feel better. And then he would crash, and then that's probably from the drugs more than, I don't
I
know.
think when in the beginning, it was alcohol,
Mm,
and then it moved to prescription, like
hmm.
that kind of stuff, and then the later years where it was
Heroin.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Just,
other goodies, you know?
yeah, another, yeah.
I don't know if that was masking because it seemed like it was I mean, basically, there was, like, maybe, like, between the alcohol and when he started taking the painkillers. When he started taking the painkillers as prescribed, there wasn't a big problem.
Uh-huh.
When he decided to self-medicate, it became a problem.
Yeah. Well,
So
the desperation steps in, right? Where am I gonna get it next? How am I, and then the wheeling and dealing and all that nonsense. That just reminded me of something. So there was a time, what he told me happened was that he was walking home from the bar, that he down the street by the 7-Eleven, that he was walking home and he tripped and fell right on his face and did that thing to his nose. What really happened? Do you know?
the story that I got was he pissed off one of his buddies. They were in the back, and you know how I had the alley,
Mhm.
and he thumped him, and he fell and hit his face.
Oh, that's slightly different.
I heard the same story that you just said, and then when I'm protecting my husband and calling people and going, "What the fuck happened?" Kinda thing, finding out what really happened, I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't mind me lashing out at you. That was my bad." If he was an asshole and that kinda thing, then
So he got
what he deserved from them is
I don't doubt that.
basically what happened. Yeah, but he was the victim again.
Of course.
I'm the victim.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, you falling on your face isn't what happened, though. You don't get to tell me that and play the victim when you got thumped by one of your own friends because you were being an asshole and
Mhm.
violent. So, no, you're not the victim. You're the
No.
instigator yet again.
Yet again.
This person shows you your repercussions for being an asshole.
Yeah,
So, you're not a victim. You got your just desserts."
exactly. So somebody popped him, punched him in the face or something, and then he fell flat
Well,
on
he
his.
yeah, drunk. Yeah, so this got all fucked up, and then when, I was getting ready for work, I am going in the bedroom, and blood's coming out his ears, and I'm like, "Let's get you to the ER, you moron." And then the court, "No, ma'am, go to the ER."
For the same incident? The ears?
Yes.
Holy moly.
Oh, yeah, he got thumped. Yeah.
I'm sure he earned every bit of
Now,
that.
like, now looking back and what kids went through, I'm like, "Cheerio, yay."
Yes,
You know? But, like,
I feel the same.
then I was scared. Did he get what he deserved from his buddy because he was the Joker was being an asshole and stupid? Yes. But you never want somebody you love to I mean, he was scary looking. The nose and the blood, I was just like, "Oh my god," and then the refusal to go to the hospital just
Interesting. You know what I always thought about the nose injury? I mean, I didn't know that happened, and he couldn't deny the nose thing because when I saw him after that happened, I was like, "What the hell happened to you?" And then it stayed forever. I think up
it, like,
until
took layers. I don't know how far down, but it's still there.
yeah, and it's like there's I don't know, like an outline of whatever. It's remarkable to me how I think what he said to me was something along the lines like well, he did say, "I just fell." And I'm like, "We how did you just fall? Like, what happened? Did you trip over something?" "No, I just fell." And then I think he started using something about, like, his blood sugar being low or something like that, and I'm like, "You were walking home from the bar,
Yeah,
you were drunk," and that's what I figured, that he was just drunk and passed out.
he would use, "Oh, my blood sugar's low," for his attitude, for the abuse, the neglect, and, everything like that, and then I'm just like, if we're having that bad of diabetes going on, and why are we at the bar?
Exactly.
If we're that worried about it and you're using it as the crutch that you're using it as right now because you still ate like shit.
Mhm.
There's salads, there's chicken, there's that kind of stuff, but you go to 7-Eleven. In my whole life, I had never been to 7-Eleven until I met him.
Really?
Yeah, and then, like, later in our relationship, he was literally at 7-Eleven 3 or 4 times a day, and I'm like, "No." Those remember those, like, Crustables, but they're like pies and they're stuffed with chocolate or lemon or
Oh,
cherry.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I would come home and there'd be a bag, because he forgot it was there, by the back door of because then he was in the garage, of just, like, 20 or 30 of those things.
Really?
20 or 30 of those things. Fucking soda and all the shit that you shouldn't have when you're diabetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, "If we're so fucking worried about this shit, what the fuck? No, I'm sorry, you're not worried about it at all, dude,
No, he wasn't.
because I'm still picking up the medication, I'm still paying for it, and it's still in the fridge, not being used."
Mhm. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it was a good tool for him to get somebody to feel sorry for him or pity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I knew that story wasn't true. I'm glad I brought that up.
Just like the story you told me about his teeth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now that's true. Okay, yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, don't get me wrong, people who do heroin and drugs and stuff get shitty teeth. They get
Yeah.
horrible looking teeth, absolutely. But they're not broken in these weird
Yes.
shards and stuff. And I'm like, okay, what you told me sounds okay. Yeah, that sounds like right.
That sounds like what would likely happen if somebody let him have it again. Yeah. Knocked his teeth out, which is a little bit of sweet justice for me because he broke my teeth.
There you go.
Yeah.
Karma.
I never thought of that. Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah. It's so funny. Well, I think did we oh my god, Sarah, I said 20 minutes and it's like that was like 40
that's
minutes or something.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking as much as you are.
Well, I hope we explained a narcissistic collapse. Do you think we did?
I think we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
I hope they
Okay.
understand.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hard topic to explain.
It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if because I didn't know what it was for a long time until I don't know if a client mentioned it to me or mentioned the behavior. I can't remember how I came across this, but it made me look back and go, "Oh, that's what was going on with him during these certain times in our time together." And I know it did when Kathy died, and I figured, of course, it did at other times too. But it really is. I mean, if you've been with a narcissist, you've probably seen it at some point. Yeah. But this is another one of those things. If people have questions about it, they can ask us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Email,
Explain as much as
text,
we can.
social media.
Yes. All of the things.
We are just listening and waiting and willing to share information
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
just be here for somebody that needs to be heard.
Yes. For sure. Honestly, and people want to come and tell their stories on our podcast. They can do that too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
support ya.
Yep. We will. We definitely will. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone. You guys have a good night or day,
Whatever it is.
what time it is.
Yeah. Have a good whenever.